Hola, hola chicos, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Espero que estén muy bien. Yo estoy súper bien. Hoy vamos a aprender los verbos similares al verbo gustar. Today we're going to be learning verbs that are similar to the verb gustar, the verb to like. The verb gustar is very particular because it doesn't behave like all the other AR verbs. It is actually kind of backwards when you try to translate it. So we're going to be taking a look at the verb gustar and some verbs that behave exactly like it. So verbs that are similar to it. So let's go ahead and start. Vamos a comenzar. Okay, so some of these verbs are, for example, the verb encantar or fascinar, which we use when we really love something or we're fascinated by something or enchanted by something or delighted by something. Some of these verbs are like the verb aburrir, which means when something bores you or is boring to you, or interesar, if something is interesting to you or it interests you. We also have the verb faltar y quedar. Faltar is when you're missing something, and then quedar when you have something remaining. So as I said, these verbs behave just like gustar in the sense that they're backwards. We don't, if we're gonna say, I like pizza, we don't really say, I like pizza literally. We say pizza is pleasing to me or pizza pleases me. So we become the object and the pizza or the thing that we like becomes the subject. So what do I mean by this? It's kind of tricky and you might be confused. So let's go ahead and take a look at some examples. So first, let's use the verb aburrir. Aburrir, as I said, means that it bores you or that is boring to you. So here I chose to talk about la clase de química. When I was a student, chemistry class was always like the worst class for me because it was so difficult and it was boring to me. I didn't find it interesting. So if I'm speaking in the present and I'm taking chemistry class and I'm saying it bores me or it makes me bored, I would say, let me see, I'm gonna use black, okay. La clase de química me aburre. So here I am being affected by chemistry class and it bores me. So that's why we have that me there, which means it affects me. So the class itself is what is boring or what bores me. So I'm conjugating the verb aburrir to the form of ella, meaning the class, the Spanish class. It's an IR verb, so the ending should be an e. That's the ending that we need with the third person, that usted, él, ella. So la clase de química me aburre, meaning chemistry class bores me. Or if we don't want to translate it word by word, but we want to interpret, I'm saying it's boring to me. Okay. Now the next verb here is the verb encantar. Encantar means to enchant or to delight. So on the other hand, art class was always really interesting and I would love going to art class any day of the week. So I want to say that it enchants me, that I really love it. So if there's something that I really love, I would say me encanta. So in this case, I'm gonna say la clase de arte me encanta. Okay, so again, me, because it enchants me, and then encanta conjugated to the form of ella, because this is an AR verb, we should have an A at the end, right? So me encanta. I could also say me encanta la clase de arte, and the meaning is the same, it doesn't change. Same thing, me aburre la clase de química. The me encanta or me aburre can be at the beginning or at the end, it doesn't really matter, okay? And then let's say here I have a set of colored pencils, but I'm missing one color. That's the verb faltar, when you're missing something. So let's say I'm missing the color purple. I don't see the color purple. I cannot find it, so I'm missing it. So I could say me falta Again, conjugated to the form of, in this case, el, meaning the color purple, a masculine noun. When I don't have a word for it, I have to go with the form of él or ella, which means feminine or masculine noun. So me falta el color morado. So meaning the purple color is missing to me. Doesn't really sound right when we translate it like that, but that's what it means. Like I am lacking or I am missing, in this case, el color morado. Okay, so let's see. This girl, she's bored, aburrir, with online classes. She doesn't really like online classes. They're too difficult, son muy difíciles, too challenging. She's bored with them. So online classes bore her or are boring to her. So we could say a ella, meaning her, the lady, le aburren, and now I'm using en at the end because I'm talking about online classes, which is ellas. The subject is ellas, they, the online classes. So that's the form that we need. It's an IR verb, so we need en if we're going to talk about online classes as ellas. So a ella le aburren las clases en línea. So she's bored by them, the English class, not the English, the online classes. Okay, so this guy, he likes hiking on the mountains. So we could say, well, he doesn't like, he loves to hike on the mountains. So we're gonna say, a él le encanta escalar montañas. Okay, again, le encanta conjugated to the form of él or ella because we're talking about the action of hiking mountains. Okay, so it's an it, so we go with él or ella. It's just one thing that he likes. A él le encanta escalar montañas. We're not talking about him loving the mountains. We're talking about him loving hiking the mountains. So the activity, not the mountains themselves. If we want to say that he loves mountains, then we can say a él le encantan las montañas, which, for example, for me, that is the case. I love mountains. Me encantan las montañas. So if it is something that is happening to me, I have to put me in front of the verb. Either it can be aburrir or encantar or fascinar, whatever. If it's about me, me, like you saw in the previous slide. If it's about he or she likes or is bored or is fascinated with something, le. Okay, so for example, for this lady, this is actually, she's a teacher and she loves to use, she's fascinated by using creativity. So she's fascinated by being able to use her creativity. So we could say, a ella le fascina usar su creatividad. Usar meaning to use. So she's fascinated to use her creativity. Le fascina. So it's one thing that she's fascinated by. So we use fascina. A ella le fascina usar su creatividad. If we want to say she's fascinated by, I don't know, two random colors like black and white. So let's say she's fascinated by black and white. A ella le fascinan los colores. Actually, let's use bright. She's fascinated by bright colors because in this picture we can see really a lot of bright colors. So she's fascinated by bright colors. A ella le fascinan los colores brillantes. Brillantes is bright. Okay, so why did I use fascinan? Because this is a plural noun, right? Los colores brillantes, los. Okay, if I'm talking about just one thing or one activity, we use fascina in the singular. If it's plural, fascinan. So here again, if it's just an activity, it's singular. Le encanta. But if it's plural, like he loves mountains, then we would say a él le encantan las montañas. Okay, let's continue. The verb importar. Importar is when something is important to you. So in this picture, we see two girls. This girl looks kind of indifferent. So I want to say that she does not care, or she does not care about her friends' problems, or her friends' problems are not important to her. So one way I could say that would be, let's say her name is Sofia. Sofía no le, because it's about ella, no le importan, and I'm going to say tan important because I'm talking about problems, plural, not just one. No le importan los problemas de María. So she is María, she is Sofía, María, Sofía. So a Sofía no le importan los problemas de María. So Maria's problems are not important to Sofía. Maria's problems are the subject. So that's why we conjugate the verb to the plural form, to the form of ellos or ellas. And le, because it's about Sofía, she is the one that is not affected by the problems. Okay, so that's what we're using le, indirect object pronoun. So the problems are not affecting her. Okay, let's continue. The verb here is interesar. So when something is interesting to you. A lot of students are interested in minimalism. I've noticed it's kind of trending or in fashion. So we could say a los estudiantes les, and here I'm using les because I'm talking about the students. So I'm going to say that minimalism is interesting to them. So a los estudiantes les interesa. And then interesa is conjugated to the form of usted, él, ella, because I'm talking about wanting minimalism. So a los estudiantes les interesa el minimalismo. So here, minimalismo becomes the subject of the sentence. And that's why we conjugate the form of according to the subject, el minimalismo. And then the students are the indirect nouns. So they're indirectly affected. So that's why we're using les. You may or may not remember the lesson, or you may need to review it about indirect object pronouns, when something affects you indirectly. Okay, and then one more here with the verb molestar. Molestar is like to annoy or to be annoyed by something. So this case, loud music is something that really annoys some people. In my case, that's something that happens to me. I'm really annoyed by really loud music. So a mí me molesta la música muy alta. And if I want to say that you are bothered or annoyed by loud music, I could say a ti te. Now I use te because it's about you. A ti te molesta la música muy alta. So very loud music bothers you. So muy alta. Alta means loud or tall. In this case, loud. So a ti te molesta la música muy alta. La música is the subject. That's why we conjugate the verb as a form of usted, el, ella. And then you are affected by it, by the music. So a ti te molesta la música. Okay. So there's three more and then we're done, guys. I know it's kind of complex and you may need to go back and rewatch or, review that part of the lesson, the explanation. But whatever you need to do, this is important to learn, okay? So the verb quedar. Quedar could mean to remain or could also to fit. Could also mean to fit. So here, let's say I have only just a little bit of shampoo left. I don't have that much left. Quedar is used in that case. So I could say me queda poco shampoo. Me queda poco shampoo. Oh, in Spanish is shampoo or shampoo, depending on where you are. Shampoo. So me queda poco shampoo. Me queda because I'm using shampoo as my subject. And there's only a little bit left to me or for me. So that's why we have me. If I'm talking about, I only have a few Q-tips left. Q-tips is the subject. So now I cannot say queda, but quedan. So I could say me quedan pocos. The word for Q-tips is hisopos. Me quedan pocos hisopos. So exactly like what you guys learned when you were learning the verb gustar. If you say, I like pizza, you say me gusta la pizza. But if you want to say you like sciences, me gustan las ciencias. Same thing with these verbs. You add an N if the thing that you like is plural, is more than one. Or you keep it just an A if it's a singular noun. Okay, so quedar means to have remaining or to have left of something, and also to fit. So we could say for this girl, a ella le queda bien el vestido negro. So here we're saying that the dress, the black dress, fits her well. It fits her well. Le queda bien. Or this girl here, a ella le quedan bien. And here I'm saying quedan because I'm going to be talking about shoes, the pink shoes. Le quedan bien los zapatos rosados. Okay, so los zapatos is plural. That's why I'm using quedan. Okay, chicos, that's the end of the lesson. I hope this was helpful and useful. And if you have any questions, of course, please let me know. I'm more than happy to help. Okay, ciao.